Full Service Radio is proudly supported and hosted by Simplecast, the easiest way for a podcast creator to publish and distribute audio on the internet. For more information, visit simplecast.com.
You're tuned into Full Service Radio.
Full Service Radio.
Full Service.
Full Service. Full Service.
Full Service Radio.
Peace, everyone, and welcome to the Edible Activist Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa L. Jones, broadcasting live from the lobby of the Line, D.C. This podcast is where dynamic people of color in the food and agricultural space share their personal food journeys, passions, and perspectives that stem from the land, all exemplifying the spirit of activism in their own edible way. Let's get started. Peace, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Edible Activist Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa L. Jones, broadcasting live from the lobby of the Line, D.C., here on Full Service Radio. And as I always like to say, I have an exciting guest today because they're always exciting. But before I introduce my guest, I have a special co-host in the building.
Hey, what's up? What's up? I'm back, y'all.
You back? Who are you?
Afrobeats, Christian.
How you say it? Your boy. How do you say it?
I was like, it's your boy Afrobeats. Back at it again. Episode 22, I think. Yeah.
For you or for me?
For your podcast.
No, I'm on episode 36.
Yeah. No, I said I was
for
on
you.
episode.
Okay, that's right. He was on episode 22. You're right. All right. I'm lost. Okay,
I'm
yes,
back,
he was.
y'all. I'm back.
So Chris is actually going to help me co-host today. And we have a really awesome guest by the name of Fred James. Hey, Fred.
What's up? What's up?
All right. So Farming with Fred. That's what we have in the building. So Frederick James was born in Alabama, surrounded by a farming family that taught him agriculture techniques. This ignited his passion to continue work in this field, literally, having worked on a number of farms in the area and beyond to provide access to fresh produce. The food and health connection is extremely important to Fred and believes this is imperative to our emotional and mental well-being. He is also an artist who graces venues across the DC area, playing to the beat of his own drum.
I like that.
I just thought of it last night.
That's cool.
Because he is a drummer. Thought I'd slide that in. Welcome, Fred.
Thank you.
It's been a year since you and I connected.
Yeah.
But it was in a beautiful way because we were actually at this farm event with amazing food at someone's house. And we not that we had lost touch, but I'm just glad that we were able to connect and bring you in on the show.
Yeah. I'm glad to be here. This is pretty awesome.
Absolutely. And also today is Juneteenth, y'all. Gotta acknowledge that. On this.
I'm
clapping. Woo! Wednesday, June 19th. All right, Juneteenth. So here's the rundown. Fred is from Alabama, y'all. Born in Alabama. So we're going to dig into those roots because you already know every time I meet somebody from the South, we got to dig into these roots. And we're going to talk about his family lineage because he comes from a dynamic family of farmers. We're going to learn about your current farming role and previous farming projects that you worked on in and around the city because you've done a lot of work here. And we're also going to gain your perspective on mental health and the food connection because I know that's something that's very important to you and bridging those two pieces together. So again, welcome to the show. And I always start off by digging into folks. Fred, you're from Alabama.
Yep.
Tell us about those roots.
So basically, I'm from Tuscaloosa. Well, that's the closest, right? City, little city.
Okay, I know where Tuscaloosa is. My brother went to University of Alabama.
Cool. So then,
so you die hard, roll tide.
So under that, there's this little town called Moundville, right? Moundville. But you gotta say Moundville.
Mound.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is that a lot of people don't know where that place is, right?
Is it one of those places you blink, you miss it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then outside of that is this little place called Big Sandy, right? So it's Big Sandy. So it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a area, it's not a town kind of. It's like an area.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So if I say I'm from Big Sandy, Alabama, everybody's like, what? But if I say Tuscaloosa,
they're like,
majority of
oh.
people get that one.
Okay,
And
Big
then if
Sandy,
I say-
Alabama.
If I say like Moundville, then a few more people kind of got that. Right? So, anyway, all that to say, yeah, that's where I'm from.
Okay.
Just, kind of grew up watching, great uncles, grandfathers, like planting whatever they were, growing for that season, raised cows. There was always like chickens just like randomly around.
Same.
Escape or whatever. So
Running amok.
Yeah. Had a couple uncles that did pigs. So I remember this one summer at my grandmother's house. One of my great uncles had a couple pigs, and they had like little piglets. So we would try to like catch them because they would go under the electric fence. So we just like run around trying to catch them. Can't catch them.
I was about to say, did you have any success?
Nah.
So you're a Southern boy at heart.
Yeah, I am. Yep.
So pigs, watching your great grandfathers grow food. Mm-hmm. What else? Like, what else did you connect to? Like being a young boy growing up in Alabama, because that's rural. What you're describing, I know is rural.
Yeah, and it's like it wasn't. Like a lot of people think of like farms. You think of like a red barn and
right.
It wasn't on that level. It was like families has been living there for generations. Had land that they worked all the time and turned it into something and had animals and stuff around. The other thing I guess I connected to growing up down there was more of the spiritual side of life.
Yeah.
That was really from my grandmother. She was like really strong Christian and stuff like that. Taught us a lot, being nice and it's different things like that. So
it's very Baptist down there, right?
Yeah, it is. And that's weird, and that's got his own little thing, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I have a Southern family, so I even when we go visit, we would go into church every day.
Yeah.
Every night.
And in between you go to church. So,
and in between you go to church.
And then you come home is like church.
And then you got fish fries on Fridays.
Yeah.
I know it all too well. All too well. Okay, so you grew up in Alabama, but you also come from a family of farmers who taught you these wonderful agriculture techniques. Did you know that you would continue in this path at all?
Yeah, like I would say I always felt that I would. I didn't see how.
Okay.
And I didn't see like a progression, like little Fred then end up doing all this. I didn't see it, but I always felt it. There's something about it that I just couldn't shake. So throughout the rest of my life, I was always growing things, like whether it's like a little bean plant or whatever. I was always trying to figure it all out. And then a few years back, I just got this great opportunity to just like, I guess you call it like professionally do it.
To get paid to do it. Exactly. Get a salary and some benefits.
Right. So.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Now, you spent some time in Mississippi, so you kind of navigated your way up north. So what went down in Mississippi? And what part?
All right, so my dad was stationed at Keesler Air Force Base.
Okay.
This is like, I think I was around 7, 8, something like that. So we moved to Biloxi.
Shout out Biloxi.
Yeah.
Down by the water.
Yeah. So we were there for about another 6 or 7 years before I came up to Laurel, Maryland.
Okay.
Yeah. And Biloxi was it was an interesting town because there's a lot of military. And it was like beach, so it had that like beach feel, but then it was like still racist.
Yeah.
So it was, but it felt like it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
You know, and then there was a lot of casinos there, so it's like
a ton of casinos.
There's a lot of different people, so it just always, to me, felt like one of those places that like it shouldn't be as racist as it is.
Yeah. And you know what? I only remember being in Biloxi as a small child because we would go there. I think we had like a family reunion or two down there, and I just remember being in dirty water that you can't see because you can't see through that water in Biloxi at all, and being really sandy and nasty.
Yeah, all of the Mississippi River just dumping it right into the Gulf.
Exactly. So was there any farming in Mississippi at all?
Nah, not around where I was.
Okay.
It's basically kind of where we had a little plot. It was like a little sandy spot that was on the side of our driveway that I would plant stuff in there. So, like I put a pine tree there once and like just watch that thing grow.
So you were just basically like a guerrilla grower.
Yeah, like all my life, I guess you could say that. Yeah,
just finding stuff. I've heard of people just trying to like throw seeds to the wind and see what happens. You're one of those people.
No. I didn't just throw it. Like I intentionally put it there. I'm gonna watch that.
Wow. All right. So how the heck did you find your way up here?
All right. So then, you know, so my mom and dad divorced when I was like really young. My mom was kind of just like, you know, living her life, trying to figure out her thing, figure out her way in life. She ended up here. But we were still in Mississippi at the time. So like she was always like, you know, she'd be like, hey, you know, I'm going to send for you guys. Like, you know, you just be down there, you know, like another year or so. Whatever. Okay. So that kind of like kept going and going. You know, again, she's still trying to figure herself out. Yeah, like she's getting on her feet and all that stuff. So we always knew we weren't going to be down there forever. But so eventually, like one year, like everything clicked. And so she called us and was like, hey, you know, like I want you guys to come up here. So it was like I was going into the 6th grade, I think. And, you know, it was just kind of like, what do I do? Like, do I stay with my dad or like, you know, do I go up to Maryland? Like, so I was like, well, you know, I've been with my dad for a few years and I want to see what Maryland's like. And, you know, like looked at the map and saw it and I'm like, that'd probably be a cool spot. So, so then, you know, we ended up here.
Okay, and then when you moved up here, what was your first actual farming project?
So the first farming project, I guess I would say, was with Eco City Farms.
Okay.
And that was like years after I moved up here.
Yeah.
So when I first came up, you know, middle school, high school, graduated high school, around 17. So really quick, I'm going to go into a little bit of a story.
Go ahead.
So
shoot.
So around 17, I ended up moving with a youth pastor of mine. His name was Durant Kreider. Awesome dude at this church called the Tabernacle. So anyway, that was a long story. Ended up moving with him for like a year, right? And at his house, like he loved tomatoes, and like his family were farmers, like they're Pennsylvania Dutch, you know, like. Oh wow! Okay. Yeah, so he would always talk about like his grandmother's tomato juice recipe and how he loved it, and you know, blah blah blah. So one day he brought these tomatoes, like these tomato plants that he got out of the back of a nursery. They were throwing them out. Oh wow! So he brought them home. He had these like 2 raised bed boxes, and so he was like, let's just see, like we'll just put them in the ground and see if they grow. And so we did it, and like tomatoes were growing like crazy. It was like tomatoes everywhere. Dang. So then he's like, hey, we can get some basil. So we started growing all this stuff, and it was fun. You know, it's kind of like one of those like, you know, I'm in this guy's household. Like I don't really know him like that yet, but we connect on this like growing thing, and so there was another connection point that we had, and it was so much fun. And I was just like, man, like how do I continue this? Like just doing this thing, putting stuff in the ground, watching it grow, like eating it, blah blah blah. So anyway, we did that for like one summer. Then the next summer, like life just got busier and busier. Like, you know, I got this job working at a furniture store, anyway, so ended up moving down to Chesapeake, Virginia. We went down there, basically did the same type of thing. Started this new thing, boom, 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 boom. Put some tomatoes in the ground, they grow, whatever. Ended up going to South Bend, Indiana.
Now, are you going these places by yourself, or you with the youth pastor? Who are you traveling with?
So from Laurel to Chesapeake, Virginia, I was with the youth pastor.
Okay.
So we all moved down there.
Wow.
He was like, you can come with us, or you can stay. Like, it's up to you. We would love for you to come down.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and I looked at the map. I was like, it'd be great. Let's go. So we went down. Indiana, I went by myself. Well, actually, it was with a best friend of mine. It was for this like discipleship program.
Okay.
So we went up there. We did that for like 9 months, and then I had to leave. So then I came back to Virginia. Then I went to Maryland, back to Virginia, then back up to Maryland. All within like 3 or 4 years. Like, it was just like this really crazy, like, busy time. So then ended up back in Maryland. No, I'm sorry. Was in Virginia. I started this painting business a couple of years. That was stressful. Huge garden to like de-stress that I've like just built in the backyard. Had chickens, all that stuff. Everything was great. And I, like, in my head, I'm just like, I want to just do this. Like, I don't want to do anything else. I just want to grow food.
That's it.
And give people. I would love to get paid for it, but if I don't care right now.
Wow. I'm going to pause really quickly. So for those who are just tuning in, this is Melissa L. Jones here with the Edible Activist Podcast, broadcasting live from the lobby of the Lion, D.C. here in Full Service Radio. I have my awesome co-guest. Are you a co-guest host?
Co-host?
Co-host? Guest co-host? I said that. You're a guest co-host.
Co-buddy.
Co-buddy.
We'll figure out the
Hey,
title.
Chris Riddick of the Afro Beats, and we are chatting here with Fred James, who is a farmer here in the D.C. area. He is a Southern boy at heart. He is from Alabama. He comes from a line of farmers. His family taught him farming techniques. He actually found his way up here in the D.C. area. His mom moved here years ago, but he also made a connection with a pastor who he lived with for quite some time, and they fell into just growing food. And you just knew at one point you just wanted to grow food. There was no magic behind it.
Nope.
There was no nothing actually happened. You just did it.
Yep.
You know, and you said, this is what I want to do.
Yep.
If I get paid or not.
Exactly.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
So then I ended up coming up here. Just wrap it up real
You're
quick.
coming back up here, you mean,
so
right?
I came back up here.
Because Fred has taken us a couple places.
He's been around.
Right.
He's talking about maps.
Right. We're about to put up a whole map.
I'm so sorry. So I ended back up in Maryland after the painting business and all that. I went to Bogota, Colombia for like 3 months.
Sweet.
To like de-stress.
Nice. Okay.
Came back. I was just fully ready to live out of my car and just like go on somebody's farm and just work.
Wow.
And if I never saw like society again, great. Like, I'm just gonna dive into farming anyway. So then I found out about Eco City Farm.
Okay.
And I was like, sweet, I don't have to like
You don't have to rough it.
I don't have to do nothing drastic. I could just go talk and see what it's about, see what this urban farming thing is about. It's in cities. So I went there. They gave me like a lot more tools that I needed and gave me the opportunity to like just make things happen. So,
and you made a lot of things happen. I was actually privileged to be connected with Eco City Farms at that time, which is based in Hyattsville, Maryland.
Yep.
And they have 2 wonderful locations, if both of them still remain, 2 wonderful locations, and they really place emphasis on growing healthy produce for the community members in that area. Portstown, I mean, it's a lot of low-income families in those neighborhoods. And so they also do a farmer's market in Hyattsville, actually. They still do it every single Thursday. I guess they started back up. But Fred was the lead farmer at that farm. And I remember just walking on the farm, and Fred is like picking edible flowers. Like, here, taste this, taste that. I'm sending you home with this, that. And, you know, just to see it, without knowing Fred, you know, that much, he literally, what he's saying is that, I just want to do this. When I would see Fred at Eco City Farms, he just wanted to grow food. He wanted to provide healthy options and access for those who didn't have it. Like, that is a labor of love. And I saw that in you.
Awesome.
Seriously. We are going to take a really quick break, and we'll be right back, guys. You're listening to Perfect Day, produced by Artists Authentic. For more of Authentic's work, visit allornothingstudios.com. All right, welcome back to the Edible Activist Podcast. This is Melissa L. Jones broadcasting live from the lobby at the Line DC here on Full Service Radio. And I have my guest co-host, Chris Riddick of the Afro Beats.
Hey.
This your boy.
It's your boy.
And my awesome guest, Fred James, a.k.a. Farming with Fred.
Hey.
And we're actually going to talk more about the current farming role that he's in. And if you guys missed it, Fred is a Southern boy at heart. He's from Alabama. He's navigated a few places on the map here and there. He took us a little bit all over, but we caught up. Okay? But the most important thing to him is that he just, wherever he went, he was growing. Like, growing stuck with him. He's like, I just want to grow food. You had to take a little sabbatical. You went to Colombia, and you came back saying, listen, I don't care if I don't have a place to stay. I just want to find somewhere and grow some food. And you happen to start working at Eco City Farms, which is an awesome farm in Prince George's County, Maryland. So fast forward, before we actually get into your current farming role, actually was, doing some snooping on your Instagram page, because that's what it's for. I don't care what people say.
Oh, yeah. This is
right?
stalker
Exactly.
all the way.
That's what it's for.
Yeah, you just got to be slight with it.
You got to be slight with it.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be stalked, get off Instagram.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Please.
Mind your business.
Mind your business, because I won't. So Fred had a post, right? It said, chemical weed killer, ? No, I am the killer of weeds, the planter of seeds, and he who harvests an abundance of chemical-free produce, but my back is getting tight. LOL.
Oh, sound like the Thanos of gardening right there. Yeah, a little scared.
Really inspirational moment. In that garden, man.
Thoughts while farming. Hashtag, literally.
Like, I used to write little journals and thoughts while farming.
Yeah.
That's dope. One of the things that we actually don't talk about a lot, and not that we need to talk about this a lot, but farming is intensive work.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And when you say your back is tight, you mean that literally, right?
Yeah, my muscles were tight.
Your muscles are tight.
Yeah.
Like, what? And I don't want to get into like the pitfalls pitfalls of farming, because obviously there's so many rewarding things about farming, especially when it comes to Black people, and we are agrarian by nature. But I definitely do want to touch on like just how intense it can be out on the field.
So
because it ain't easy.
It ain't easy. It gets hot.
Like it's hot today.
Hot, yeah.
You got to go to work after this.
Yeah. And pulling those weeds out of the ground, without just spraying stuff on it, like it's that like crabgrass and Bermuda grass that have the rhizomes that kind of like you got to yank that stuff up.
Yeah.
Constantly, because even when you pull it out, like you still leave pieces of it in, and just like it just take off. But what I didn't know was there's proper ways to bend over and do these things.
I'm sure there are.
What they taught you in gym, what you're supposed to be doing.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. So on that day specifically, I was just trying to just get in there and do it, and I wasn't like taking the time to like watch myself. I almost messed myself up.
Oh, come on. We got farmers. We got to take care of ourselves, which actually makes me, I think back to hustlers to harvesters who are out in Northeast DC. They make these wonderful seats out of like the plastic crates, and they do a lot of wood carving. And so I know like as they develop their business model, like that's something they want to start offering, because they're like, you need to be able to sit properly when even if you're in the garden and if you're in the field, because it is back-breaking work.
Yep.
It is.
Yep.
And I just thought that was so hilarious when I saw that. I read that. But I was like, he's right. Without me. And I'm not out there. Look at me. So you are currently with Loving Carrots.
Yes.
As the farm manager, director,
it's
farmer?
An urban farmer. Yeah, one of their urban farmers.
Okay, so let's talk about your role there. I love Loving Carrots. Shout out to them. They're cool.
Yeah, they're a cool company. So basically my role is I do a couple of things from garden installs. So, client calls and says, hey, we want gardens like this, blah, 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 blah. Meredith and Carly and Julia, they take all of that information. They kind of like draw up the plans, and then they come to us when I'm working on a build crew, and they're like, hey guys, boom, this is the plan. This is what we need to see. Boom, and then we make it happen. And then so this week, I'm build crew 1 week, and then urban farmer the second week. So I switch. So this week doing the urban farming part, and so I have some clients that I do like coaching. So we do like a 2-hour coaching where there's a whole like curriculum, and like we walk through different things, like this season we do this, blah 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 blah, pests and all of that. So we walk through that, or I can just do maintenance, which I just come out and take care of the garden for you, make sure things are growing properly. I harvest if you need, like I can leave it on the front porch for you, so when you come home, boom, you take care of it. You don't have to worry about the actual taking care of the plants. I'll do all of it. Or again, I could just come out, set it up, put some plants in, and then you take care of it.
I need the whole kit. And I need the 1-800 number.
I'm curious, like from an artistic point of view, how does that impact your different growing spaces you're working in? Because a lot of yards are like decked out. Like there's a whole like Picasso.
Not Picasso, but you're right.
I don't know a lot about art, honestly.
I don't know a lot about art either, and I have seen a lot of gardens like that. We do a lot of that stuff ourselves, like we just kind of hook up the garden. But mostly, like for a lot of that, there's a plan that I followed that was created by somebody else.
Right.
So I just kind of put stuff where but there's a few gardens that I really enjoy. They're really bigger gardens, so I can kind of like take advantage of like space and things like that. My technique is really like simple, like really farm centered. So it's like I like straight lines. I don't need to see like pretty groups over here. Like look,
because listen, those plans can get pretty complicated. I mean, I've seen some people draw some stuff out like dag.
And that stuff is like it's fun, but in my head I'm just like I just want to maximize
The space.
The space.
Yeah, the food. So, like, if it looks pretty, great. I'm definitely going to shoot to make it, like, again, straight lines, and it won't look all, like, county wonkus or whatever that word is. But, like, I don't go in with, like, this, real super detailed map. I'm just like, tomatoes here, put the garlic over here, beans here.
Sounds like a man. Simple.
Production.
That's it. That's it.
That's it.
Now, thinking back to your family and the techniques that they taught you, the value in farming that they taught you, the grounding work, that you were engulfed in, what have been some of the things that have just stayed, like, what have been some of the key things? Because I know everything is valuable, but what have been some of those, like, those key pieces of just information or some of those techniques that have really just stuck out to you and just you've kept with up until now?
So the biggest one for me is, like, patience, right? So just learning how to just be patient, whether it's weeding, like, you just gotta be patient and just keep pulling all the weeds, make sure you get them all out, staying focused.
Yeah,
that was another one. And then just, like, dedication, hard work, like, all of the big.
Yeah. And that's important because, we are in a society where everything is instant and tech driven. And, there's a lot of, although agriculture is science, but like, there's some induced science behind all these growing techniques because we have to have it now and
hurting us.
Hurting us. And back then, grandma was just taking her time.
Right.
Yeah. Just slow it down.
Gardening will humble you. Yeah. It'll humble you real quick.
Yeah. So that's actually key, patience.
Yep. That was the biggest one.
And I know that the tying in food health and emotional well-being and mental health well-being is really important to you.
Yeah.
So I definitely just want to touch on that because there is definitely a mental health crisis in this world. A lot of people are affected, even if you are just everyday normal. We are all going through some things.
Yeah.
And, I have a number of conversations for people who are health advocates, who are holistic advocates, and they talk a lot about the food that we eat, having the mental clarity, having the energy, because we keep putting stuff in our bodies that allows us not to think on our highest level or operate on our highest level. So I just definitely want to just touch on that and gain your perspective.
Yeah. So I read this, like, it was a long time ago. Read a lot of articles that were talking about, like, food and nutrition and how good nutrition affects, like, your focus and, like, all that type of stuff. Like, I'm not a scientist, but I understood a lot of those basic concepts, right? Putting gas in a car, like, if you put crappy gas in there, the car's going to go, but eventually, like, that stuff's going to mess up something, right? So, and, just watching nature and, like, just things around how, different things eat, like, different plants and stuff like that. Anyway, we put a lot of junk that I started noticing, especially me, like, a lot of just, like, cake. Like, I love cake.
At least you being honest.
Those sweets, man, get me every
time. Which, that in and of itself isn't, I guess, the worst thing, but, like, the quantities that I was just, like,
absolutely,
just, like, shoving cake down my throat, and, like, next thing you know, your body doesn't act the same like it should, or, like, you start feeling, like, a little bit more sluggish, or like, just your blood sugar is just all over the place, and like, so anyway, so I just started watching just my own body, like, when I'm eating vegetables that I grew in the garden or something like that for extended periods of time, just watching my energy levels, they weren't as, like, crazy and up and down, and, like, I was able to think a little bit better, like, so all of those things, like, I didn't have to go to a doctor and, like, really, I just started paying attention to myself and watching what I did.
Well, you know your body more than anybody else,
right? So, and I was like, okay, well, it makes sense. I don't know how the science of it, really how, like, what's really going on, but I do realize, I understand the concept of putting quality stuff in my body, and it's going to help me to like operate at this like optimal level.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that. Like, I have trouble with sugarcane. I eat like a lot of dates because it's like high in fiber and stuff like that. But like when I'm eating, so like I'm not getting all the nutrients I need. That's when I have those sugar cravings because it just takes it to a different level. Do you find like when you're getting what you need, like those things?
Yeah, they kind of like they kind of like the cravings aren't so intense. Yeah, you know. Yeah.
Cause those like snack packs and stuff. Yeah, I'll crush it. That's a problem.
You like a snack pack, Chris?
I'm a snack king.
I love snacks myself. So yeah.
No, you're spot on. You are spot on. What crops have you attempted that have just been challenging?
I like this question because there are lots. So, like, broccoli is my most frustrating thing to grow.
You know,
like,
I don't come across too many people who grow broccoli, like locally.
It's because it's so challenging.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. So, broccoli is definitely a tough one for me. What else? Cabbage was really tough.
Okay.
Like to get a
Broccoli,
decent,
cabbage.
size head of cabbage. That was tough. What else? There was this plant. It's called ground cherries.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Niraj has some of those.
Yeah, Niraj got ground cherries. He sure does.
Those were tough for me. Like the plants were big, beautiful, but the fruit, they wouldn't fruit.
You have to have an acquired taste for ground cherries. Like, I like them, but it's not something I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta have them.
Yeah.
You definitely have to have an acquired taste for them. You like them, Chris?
I like them. Is that the ones that were like a cross between like a pineapple and like a cherry or something like that?
Something
it was
like
like
that.
it's
It
got
comes in a
that
casing.
flavor.
Isn't there something you peel back?
It's very distinct flavor.
It's small, it's husk, like a husk.
Yeah.
cherry.
You get the peel back.
Yeah. So those are challenging. But everything else. And spinach. Oh,
Really?
yeah. It's temperament. So if the temperature isn't right,
It shrinks.
or it just won't be happy. Like if you don't put it in at the right time.
Okay.
Like, you gotta be a little bit more patient with with spinach. But everything else is
Do you? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do you have any tips for people who are struggling? They're new gardeners, someone who they're having a hard time, like they can't grow nothing. They say they quote unquote have like a black thumb. What does that even mean?
I never heard of that one. A black thumb.
Yeah, black thumb.
Hell, that's harsh.
That's when you kill everything. Nothing lasts. Like it's the apocalypse.
Yeah, see, and I'm trying to like get that out of people's minds because I'm like, why is everything negative gotta be black? Like,
Yeah.
I don't like
Hello.
that. I don't like that.
That's what I'm saying.
But so one of my tips, I guess, is patience. Like, just slow down. Just slow down.
Slow down.
Because my thing is like people say they can't do something, but what they don't realize is that they're just hitting a plateau. Like it's not a straight ascension into growing your skill. It's like you go up a little bit, then you plateau. You go up a little bit. It's like stairs, kind of.
Yeah.
But
Or like what I found is like people try to do too much at one time,
Right.
And then you end up killing everything.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But if you slow down, take like one plant, or like a couple plants, and that's it. Just put all your attention on those, and then once you grow those well, the time it takes and the techniques that it just becomes like automatic. You don't have to think. So then you can add 2, 3, 4 more, and by the time you know it, your whole house is full of plants, and you're just like. But you gotta slow down. Like, you gotta bring it all the way back, like simplicity. Just focus on one plant.
One thing.
That's it, and then just take care of that one.
I'm still trying to take care of the flower that Chris got me like 2 months ago.
How's that doing, by the way? I should have checked on it.
She was doing okay, and then I took her over to my friend's house who has a greenhouse, and she was doing even better. And then she brought it back over to me, but I'm on it. I'm on it.
Okay.
I'm on it.
I'm
on it.
spoiled.
I will have a praise report. So definitely need to wrap up in just a minute or so, but. On this Wednesday, June 19th, as we acknowledge Juneteenth, definitely cannot leave these conversations, leave the studio without acknowledging our ancestors who came before us, who were always part of the land, who have always been agrarian by nature, and just thinking about how far we've come, thinking about our freedom. I know a lot of people still question, are we free? And really, you know, I love these conversations because obviously everything is always tying us back to the land and connecting us back to the land. And a lot of the times, you know, people who aren't really privy about what this space is about, they think of agriculture as slavery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That happened a lot.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And so just thinking about the space that you're in, and even for you, Chris, because you connect a lot about what you're doing just from, I love how you do it with the gardening tips, and you know, talk about those who came before us and what they grew, and just really tying us back to history. But in the space that you're in now, Fred, what does, you know, farming and freedom, just what does that stand for? What does that mean to you?
So it's tough because, like, in my job now, like, I'm not necessarily farming for myself. So that's, you know, it can get a little weird when I think about it on that level. But just the act of me, like, being able to do this and make a living and things like that on that level of, like, freedom, because I feel like the jobs that I had before, like, I wasn't fully, like, engaged in it, and I you know, kind of like, but now, you know, I'm on, it's a different level, right? But it, to me, I guess, like, if I could just, like, kind of sum it up, it's the ultimate expression of freedom to me, to grow your own food or take care of your own health, and, like, you know, at least that one part of your life, like, you can take control of it, you know. And if I can help people do that too, that's another, like, level of just, like, being free. Like, I could teach you how to be free,
Right.
like,
Empowering the people.
Yeah. And I think, you know, talking from a level of, like, where I'm not farming, like, necessarily on my own and doing my own thing.
But you do realize, though, if for some reason we don't, not that I'm speaking this to existence, but that's a skill set that can never be taken away from you. So if you move on to somewhere else, you're taking that. So you still you will forever have that. That's like Dom said. Dom said, I'm a builder. You could take the ark away from me, you could take whatever, but he was like, I'm a builder. And you'll never be able to take that away from me. And that is part of his freedom, and that's part of that land liberation, you know? So, Chris, what about you? You got like 30 seconds.
It's all about empowering the people. Like Ron Finley said, growing your own food is like printing your own money. Like you're building a skill that you can transfer over to the next generation, something that can build wealth. And if you have the right people and the right educators around you, you can make all the difference.
Yeah, I love that.
Power to the people, man. Fred, where can we find you at on social media?
So you can find me at Farming with Fred on Instagram.
Are we going to get more of your thoughts while farming?
I could start that up. I could definitely do that.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on the show. It's been a privilege.
Thanks for having me.
And I appreciate the work that you do as a farmer and serving our community. And just keep doing it. I love creating this space to share what we've always been doing, and then connecting back to the folks who taught us. Shout out to your family who instilled those values in you, and you learned so much from them. And it takes the spaces that you navigated, it was all about patience. So just like growing is patience, just navigating life, that's patience, you know? So I always remember Dr. Min, the awesome rice farmer who I know that you know. His rice is awesome, y'all. He always says, like, you have to accept the what-isms in your life. Like, that's health. That really is part of health. So anyway, we're going to do a quick rapid fire before we go. You ready?
I think so.
Is you ready, Chris?
I think so.
All right. Fred, what is your favorite leafy green?
Spinach.
The most challenging.
He's ready.
Yeah. I'm ready.
We're going to tackle that spinach, though, this summer.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I've been crushing it in the spring.
So, okay.
Yeah, I was crushing it.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Don't come for him, Melissa.
I ain't coming for him. Listen, he got the tools over there. I ain't got nothing.
I'm ready.
I know where to go when stuff goes down. What is your favorite fruit?
My favorite fruit is strawberries.
Yay! Mm-hmm. Do you grow strawberries? Like y'all?
Well, I have a couple clients that
nice.
I tend the strawberries, and they did great this year.
Nice.
But, yeah.
Okay.
I made this dope strawberry cake. It's on Instagram.
Oh, snap.
Shut the front door.
Check that out.
Good, great. Talking about sweet. I don't need nothing else. I need to like go to Hintonburger. I need to go to Waterhole and get a whole cleanse for my life, for real. Sweet, spicy, sour, or salty?
Sweet.
A sweet tooth.
Yeah, it's bad.
Fred, what is cooking in your pot these days? Literally.
So, literally, it's been a lot of Swiss chard. Swiss chard, garlic, onion, and some kind of like mix with like some kind of meat. A lot of bacon.
I'm not judging. I know what bacon used to taste like.
Yeah.
Do you attempt Swiss at all?
From time to time, yeah. It's just so easy to do. You just like you can even cook the stalks and like saute it, treat it like asparagus.
It's
like
just
I love
so
that.
pretty to look at too,
It
man.
is
beautiful.
I swear.
Very beautiful.
All right, last question. One way someone can channel their inner edible activism.
Basically, just growing your own stuff, like whether it be herbs, which are to me some of the easiest crops to grow. Just grow some herbs.
Seriously.
And just like start using your own herbs. Like this oregano is mine. Like I grew it and I'm using it in my recipe, and then that'll kind of like start everything else.
Awesome.
Save a ton of money too.
Yeah, for
That
real.
too.
For real. So I think I'm going to create a remix because every time I ask someone, how do they channel their inner edible activism, they always say grow your own food. And I'm just going to take every piece, every recording, and I'm just going to remix. How do you grow? We're going to have Fred, the drummer, which we didn't talk. Fred is a drummer.
Yeah.
Fred is a drummer. We're going to have him do the drums. We're going to have Chris do. What you going to do, Chris?
I'm just gonna bebop.
Bebop. Okay. I can't sing, but I'll do something. I'll tear it down. Anyway.
I'll play the drums. I'll bring the djembe.
The djembe.
Yeah, I'll bring the djembe.
All right. Thanks y'all for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. We are here live on Full Service Radio every Wednesday at 11 a.m., where you can catch today's episode on fullserviceradio.org, as well as iTunes and Spotify. Be sure to follow me at Food Talks in Color on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Are you an edible activist? Sure you are. Come join me on the show. I would love to feature you. Just shoot me a DM on the gram. Peace and blessings all. And remember, there is no culture without agriculture.
Thanks for listening to this program on Full Service Radio, broadcasting and recording from the Line Hotel in Adams Morgan, Washington, D.C. Full Service Radio programming can be accessed live and archived on fullserviceradio.org. Our talk programming is available on most podcast apps like iTunes and Stitcher, and our DJ sets are available on mixcloud.com/fullserviceradio. Full Service Radio features over 30 weekly shows and over 50 local hosts covering every topic imaginable. If you want to be a guest or get involved, email us at info@fullserviceradio.org. Follow us on Twitter at FullServiceRDO, on Instagram and Facebook at Full Service Radio. Thanks for listening.